Hey guys, Aqua Duelist here, and today I want to talk about a particular card, and that is number 27, Dreadnought Dreadnoid, which is getting a reprint in the new Dual Overload set that is released today. Now I know I've done a couple videos on this card, but nothing kind of like what I'm going to be doing today. With it getting a reprint and just looking into it, this card has had no competitive success whatsoever. And before the reprint, this card actually used to be $10. Now the secret rares are going for about $5 as of right now, with the ultra rare being like 25 cents. So it's affordable now. But yeah, this card hasn't had no real competitive success and doesn't really, just deserve the reprint. But here it is, despite that, just getting a reprint. And I feel like the main reason why this is getting a reprint is because Konami actually is planning to make more rank 10 machine monsters. Because the thing is, anything that this could go into besides Libby over here wasn't really worth it, actually. It's like, how do I say it? They're not bad. They're actually pretty decent. There's like a few in particular that are pretty decent out of like the little handful we have. But there's just other things you could do with those extra deck slots. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with this, with Dreadnought Dreadnoid here, I'm just going to briefly go over what he does. Basically, if he destroys an opponent's monster by battle, during I think it's the end phase, or the end of the battle phase, end of the battle phase, it's been a little while since I used this, you essentially rank him up into a level 10 or higher machine XYZ monster. It counts as an XYZ summon. You basically just transfer the materials. So yeah, and then if he would be destroyed by battle card effect, you can detach a material. 2200 attack, so he's not particularly the strongest. And the reason why I felt at the time Duelist were the only deck that could really utilize him and work well with him was because Duelist do have Plethos, which lowers opponent's monster's attack just for Duelist cards that you control. That included like the back row, your pendulum scales and such. And they also did, depending on the build, did play limiter removal. So this could have actually, this could have been really good. I used to play Duelist very competitively, and just even playing with this card in that deck, which was at the time the only one I feel I could really utilize it, it just wasn't worth it, I felt, for the time. And that's because the monsters it can go into, other than Libby, I feel are just kind of lackluster. So we're going to go ahead and just kind of talk about the monsters that I can make. So at least the ones that are the best. There's three in particular. The first one is Super Dreadnought. Super Dreadnought Rail Cannon Gust Max. It's basically just a rank 10 Gaga Cowboy. It burns for 2,000. So there's not too much I can say. It's definitely great for end game or just time, but you could just make Cowboy, which is a lot easier. So that's why this just isn't as good. Unless you're specifically wanting to go into Libby, this would be the best thing to do because you can essentially just get an extra 2,000 on your opponent. So yeah, it's basically just not as good Gaga Cowboy, even though it does more damage. Now, the next card on this that I wanted to talk about is Super Dimensional Robot Galaxy Destroyer. So basically, you destroy all traps and spells your opponent controls, and they can't respond to this. Also, it has 5,000 attack, so pretty big beat stick. We don't really have monsters that are that high. The issue I find with this, however, is, again, you do have to run over opponent's monster with Dreadnought Dreadnoid. And I feel by the time you'd be able to make Dreadnought Dreadnoid, you possibly could have burned through a good bit of your opponent's back row on making them having to use some of that, a good little bit, if they're playing like strikes or whatever. So it's, I don't know, it's good. It's just, it requires, I feel like your opponent would go through a good fair amount of back row before you can make this, so it's not as effective, I feel. Now, the last rank 10 is number C39 Chaos Dyson Spear. Now, although you're not getting the full effect of this guy, the first effect alone I felt was just honestly pretty good and definitely worth having. Like, I think this engine itself altogether is something worth having. It's very fun. It's a very cool and interesting engine, and I was honestly pretty hyped with the Dreadnought Dreadnoid when it came out. A lot of people were, so I kind of it was one of the few cards I ended up pre-ordering. But so basically, the first effect that we would actually get is if this card battles an opponent's monster, you essentially just attach to this as XYZ material. It doesn't target, and you can inflict 300 damage to your opponent for each XYZ material attached to this card. So yeah, that's pretty freaking insane. And if you do also happen to have the number 9 Dyson Spear, you could essentially detach and then burn your opponent for 800 for each card, or for each card you detached. But we're not getting that. The fact that this thing can essentially just run, just essentially out anything really, non-targeting, doesn't count as destruction even. That's pretty freaking insane. And honestly, as of right now, I feel like this would be probably the best thing to go into. So yeah, this surprisingly, this is like the cheapest one out of the ones I showed. Like this is 7. I think this is 8, but this is literally like $8. It only has the one print, it's gold secret, so yeah. But if you are planning on picking up Dreadnought Dreadnoid, there are budget options except for the other two, except Grobot Galaxy Destroyer. So this is something definitely worth having. And then the last card, which was just a major buff to Dreadnought Dreadnoid, was Libby. Basically because this card essentially was just kind of a game ender. You detach it. This thing went up to 6,000, and then you got to attack multiple times, which essentially just kind of could end a game, which it's pretty insane, really. This one is the most expensive out of this engine, and this is currently sitting at around, I think, 15, I want to say, last time I checked. But yeah. All in all, this is a really cool engine that I do like. I feel like it's very interesting, but it hasn't seen any competitive success because looking at all these, they feel very lackluster, although as of right now, my opinion on number C9, I think as of right now, this is actually pretty good. Just because a lot of stuff is, it's like can't be targeted, can't be destroyed. You'd be able to get over some really insane stuff with this. But end of the day, though, it's a very interesting casual engine, which it sucks it hasn't seen any competitive play. Like, I even did a little bit of research, and this card just has not seen any light of day as far as competitive play goes, which does suck. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you want me to do more in-depth kind of like stuff like this, let me know. Do you have any type of cards you want me to do this with? Go ahead and drop in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. Hope y'all enjoyed this. I enjoyed it. And hit that subscribe button if you want to see more content. See you guys in the future.